Hey Teachable Tribe, Morgan here. Today I'm with Reese from Yes Supply. Reese, do you want to introduce yourself and say something about your business?
Hi guys. Hi Morgan. Thanks so much for having me today. So I'm Reese and I'm the founder of Yes Supply, and we provide mentorship, inspiration, and tools to help female entrepreneurs and creatives only take yes for an answer in their life and their business.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Reese, this is kind of a broad question, but when you decided to start an online business, why was that? What inspired you to do that?
Yeah, you know what? There's so many different experiences that I've gone into my life that have kind of got the ball rolling for me to want to do this. But a really big thing for me was I was trying to create something that I really wish that I had had when I was first starting out on my entrepreneurial journey. So years and years ago, I was setting out to be a stylist, and I knew, like, I was 19 years old and I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to be a stylist. That's what's going to happen for me. And I remember like just trying really hard, doing everything that I could to make it happen. I like built my own website, and luckily enough I actually started to get clients to my website, and that was like the first step into this whole like internet world. Like, oh my god, people can find you online and you can make money online, whatever. um, but I was always trying to get to that next step. And I was looking for interviews of, stylists and entrepreneurs who had done it before, and trying to almost like reverse engineer their life to figure out, like, how did you get to style in Vogue? Like, how did you get to go to Paris Fashion Week or whatever? And there was no good information out there. Like, most of the interviews were like, oh, I just fell into this job, or I was wearing a cool outfit and then Anna Wintour asked me to like come to Paris Fashion Week or something. And it's like, that's not believable. And for 99% of people, that's never going to happen. So years later, when I was working at this retail job and I was just like in a rut and I wasn't really happy with what I was doing, but I didn't know what to do next, I thought about that problem that I used to have, and I thought, I wonder if there's a way that I can solve it. And so that's where my idea for Yes Supply came. I had been doing a ton of job hunting and I wasn't able to find a job. And one day I had this epiphany, like, you know what? If I can't find a job, I'm going to create it. And I started jotting down all the things that I felt like I was good at, or all the things that I wanted to do and how I wanted to spend my day. And I came up with this idea for this blog. And I didn't really know like where it was going to go from there, but it started off with me just interviewing entrepreneurs and getting them to share not just the highlights, not just, oh, I fell into this job and it was easy, but also sharing, people who told them no and the obstacles that they had to face, and asking them like step by step, like, if you had to go through this again, how would you get to where you were, so that anybody else who was reading the blog could step by step follow in like a cool like female entrepreneur's footsteps and understand like how to achieve those goals.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
So, when you were getting started with that, when did you start feeling like you were finding success? How did that process go? That
Yeah,
made
so yeah, no, totally makes sense.
okay.
I actually started to feel like I was finding success before I even started monetizing. So I was working a 9 to 5 job at this point. I had gotten out of retail and I had found like a 9 to 5 job that I really enjoyed. But I was doing guest supply on the side, and I started to get emails from people just telling me that the interviews that I was putting out inspired them, or the blog posts that I put out just on, different perspectives and self-love and confidence, and sharing some of the things that I had overcome in my life were inspiring people. And people are telling me that it was helping them with like their depression and anxiety, or just feel more confident about their life. And like, when you get an email from somebody who says that Yes Supply changed their life, it's like, it's kind of a sign like, okay, I need to be doing more of this. Like, dedicating just 4 hours a day after work just isn't enough. Like, I really felt like it's my purpose, like what I'm doing. And so that's where I actually started to see success, because I went from this being like my crazy idea, and I didn't know if anyone would get it or enjoy it or read it, or if they just thought I'd be like, it was like cheesy, to people actually saying like, no, this is exactly what I need, and thank you so much for creating it.
That is so amazing. That must be so
Yeah.
gratifying feeling that
Yeah.
your baby that you've been working so hard on is helping people.
Yeah,
So cool.
absolutely. Absolutely. And like I've had like friends or people tell me before, like, would you ever sell Yes Supply? And I was like, but then what would I do? Because I literally feel like Yes Supply is just an extension of me. And I feel really lucky that I'm able to, work full time and do something that I love. And it just is me actually being myself and me being able to say the things that I want to say and do the things that I want to do.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Did you have any like big obstacles you had to overcome in the beginning? And if you did, what did you do to overcome them?
Yeah, you know what? I think the big obstacle was like just that point that I just shared with you. So, Yes Supply was growing. I had this amazing community, and I knew that I wanted to be able to do it all day, every day, but I didn't really know that much about like online business, and I didn't know how to take what I was doing to help people and actually start to create an income off of it. And I'm not one of those lucky people that, my parents can pay my bills for me. So I was like, if I want to do this full time, I'm going to have to find a way to monetize. So I think the big struggle was there are so many different avenues that you can go through when you decide to monetize your business. And it's hard to find that perfect one that works right for you. Actually, I just created a free like 5-day course, and I go through all the different ways, or a lot of the different ways where you can actually like monetize your business, like active and passive income. And again, it's just an example of me trying to create something that I wish existed when I first started, because I was like, I don't like passive income, what's that? Digital products, how do you sell that? Like, and so, yeah, I think the big struggle was just like online business. There's like 1,000 options. And
Yeah.
so it's just like, which one do I choose? Which one's the right one for me? And how do I actually get it going? Right.
Yeah, definitely. When you're creating your free course, what did that process look like?
First off, the process looked like getting rid of distractions, because I feel like when you're creating a course, you probably know this too, working with Teachable, is when you're creating a course, you can't just throw a whole bunch of random videos up and hope that people understand. Like when I
Mhm.
create online courses, whether it's my free course that I created or the ones in the membership site, I try and take people on a journey. So I try and think about like, where is this person right now when they're first starting, and where do I want them to be by the end of this course or this lesson or whatever. So it first started off with eliminating distractions. I actually deleted Instagram off of my phone for like a week, just because I know I hope I'm not the only one, but I find that if my phone's there, I'll just pick it up and I'll just like look at the app, and then I'll put it down, and then 5 seconds later I'm like subconsciously opening it up again, and I was like, this can't happen. So it's like deleting Instagram, throwing my phone in a drawer. And actually I downloaded this, or not downloaded, I used this app called Grum that lets you post from your computer. So I was like still posting, but not feeding into like all the distractions. So it started off like that. And then again, what I did was I actually surveyed my community. So Yes Supply, we have a free Facebook group. I think there's 14 or 1500 like female creatives and entrepreneurs who want to go into business. And so I just asked, like, what do you guys really, really, really want? Like, what do you need? And a lot of people were saying, we need to know how to create consistent income, right? Sorry, the sun's coming in, so I think it might have got a little bit brighter in here. We need to know like how to create consistent income in our businesses. And since I have a membership site, I know a lot about like, you can create one product that makes you money once, or you can have a membership site that creates you money every single month, right? So I started off just by surveying people and figuring out what they want. And then I broke down what do I think are the important things to cover. And then I designed my slides. So I kind of did my script in my slides using Keynote, but you can also use like Google Apps has like Google Slides, and you can do it for free just using that. And then I recorded my audio over the slides. And then I wanted to, if anybody didn't know me already, I wanted to be able to have like a little bit of an intro to me. So then after that, I recorded my intros. So I just like sat here on my couch and just talked about like what I was going to talk about in the slides. And actually, I think that the fact that I recorded my intros after I did the slides and after I had already recorded the lessons made it a lot easier, because then I knew exactly what it was going to talk about because I had already talked about it.
Oh, that's very cool. I love hearing.
Yeah.
Everyone seems to have such different processes that all work perfectly for them. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just like the different people think different ways or take notes different ways. So like some people have just scripted all out on paper. I don't necessarily need to do that. I like to, like, for the most part, everything that I put into that like free course, I already knew. Like if I'm teaching or training on something, I already know it like the back of my hand. So I kind of just go into it knowing what the objective is that I want to explain to somebody. But when I'm recording my videos, I try and just talk like I'd be explaining it to a friend. So if a friend was like, hey, how do I make my website more automated and work for me, I would just want to say it to the same way as them as I do to my audience.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I think that works really well when you're teaching something that you know front and back, because
exactly.
If you don't know it, sometimes you can kind of tell when people
are
kind of regurgitating, but when you know it, it's like, oh, yep, they're owning this.
Yeah, exactly. And then, you know, it's so funny too, because I put out content all the time and I'm always on Instagram, I'm always talking to my community. But right before I was about to put out this free course, I got so nervous. I literally was like, oh my God, what if no one's gonna like, and it's just funny that I've been doing this for such a long time and I still was like, what if no one likes it? Like, what if everyone thinks it's like bad? And then I had to like pep talk myself. I was like, Reese, like, it's free and you're doing this to help people. So like somebody's gonna get some value. And then I shared it out to my like paid members in the Supply Collective first before putting it out to the world, because of my like nerves, and also I like to just give them a sneak peek on everything. And yeah, I got really good feedback from them. They were like, you killed it, this is amazing, I like your teaching style. Like people were like mind blown, like, and I was like, okay, I was like, I don't know what I was so nervous about. I think everyone experiences that though. Those like voices in your head are like, it's not good enough, and then you put it out and you're like, oh, people actually like it, and I'm freaking out for no reason.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's like such a big thing that people have holding them back, is that fear. But then as soon as they put something out there and it gets such a positive reception, like that fear is just like dissipates.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
When you're running your business, do you have any like tools or apps, things like that you just swear by?
Man, I love tools. I love automation. I love kind of, once I get something going that I feel like is repetitive or time consuming, I try and look for ways that I can get a tool to help me out with it. Because like being a solopreneur, the thing that you don't have enough of is time. So it's like always thinking about like, what can you do to create more time? So off the bat, well, I love Google Apps. Like I just use Google Apps all the time if I'm setting up meetings, just always using that to keep everything in check. For my one-on-one clients, I'm always using like Google spreadsheets so that we can like share information and go back and forth, and there's not a million emails flying all over the place, because nothing drives me more crazy than a million different emails talking about the same thing. And then one that's really helping me a lot with managing my Facebook group and my Twitter is this one called Smarter Q. So if you ever heard of Meet Edgar, it's very similar, but they're just a little bit newer, and they're actually a lower price point too. Um, and so essentially what it does is if you have content that you put out, you can tweet it once, or you can put it into your Facebook group once, or your Facebook page once. And what it will do is it'll go through all of your content, and then once that's all tweeted out, it'll just start over and start again at part one. And so that way, because like for the most part, if you're tweeting, only like maybe 5% of people who follow you on Twitter are gonna see it. So it's a good idea to kind of recycle that content, and I wouldn't worry too much about like spamming or over posting the same thing, because there's usually gonna be like a month in between, like if you're somebody who posts content regularly, for it to start over the top. But it just makes my life so much easier because I can tweet it once or post it once, and I know it's going to be working for me over and over again. And then in my Facebook group too, I have daily prompts to sort of keep the community like chatting and different ideas and stuff that they can talk about and share. So I have like, you know, share your Instagram account, share your Twitter account, or like Motivation Monday, like what's your goal for the week? And so I program that all in Smarter Q so that it's doing it for me, and I don't have to like Monday morning be like, oh my God, I forgot to put the Motivation Monday thing. So that's a tool that I'm really liking right now too.
Oh, that's so cool. I haven't heard of that one yet.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to check that out for myself.
Check it out. Yeah, you'll probably like it for your
Yeah,
blog.
I'm sure I would. That's so cool.
Do you have a Facebook group for your blog too?
I had one, and it's kind of silenced itself. I need to breathe some fresh life into it.
Yeah, you know what? I really like having a Facebook group, because I feel like with Instagram and Twitter, it's kind of like a one-way conversation, but in your Facebook group, you can really have that like two-way conversation. Like you can actually feel like you get to know people a lot better, even though it's still online, and people can like ask real questions and you can answer right there, and more people can see it. So I really like having a Facebook group. It's fun.
Yeah, that's
but
awesome.
it is a lot of work, like at first. Like definitely at first you have to be there all the time to like create the culture. It's not like you open up the Facebook group and you throw Smarter Q on and then you like peace out. Like you have to be you have to be in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's one of my 2017 goals, is to take that by the reins. So it's something I tried to do twice actually in 2016, but never fully committed.
Yeah. Well, join my group. There's lots of people in there, and you can tell people that you're a new group and maybe get some new people in your group. And if you have any questions, I'll share all my secrets.
Thank you. And going from there, I guess this fits as a fitting question. Mm-hmm. Do you have any secrets or advice for people just getting started, things you wish you knew? And just in general for your business?
A million things that I wish I knew, but a big part of why I started Yes Supply was essentially I was just surrounded by so many like smart, creative, talented women who were capable of literally achieving anything that they wanted. Like, I want to be an artist, I want to do this, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to do that. And then most of the time when they wanted to get started, and I asked like, okay, well, why don't you do it? It was like, oh, well, I could never do that because I don't have the education, or I don't have the resources, or I don't have the time. But one thing that I learned from my own journey, and one thing that I learned from interviewing a ton of female entrepreneurs, is that for the most part, not like all the successful people that you see on Instagram or whatever who seem to have these perfect lives, they're not that much different than you. They didn't have a ton of time. They didn't have, you know, a ton of money given to them. Of course, there's the exception, but for the most part, the people who make it are the ones who just don't give up, and they like to kind of talk about yes supply, like they only take yes for an answer. And so if you're first starting out and you have this idea in your head but you're not sure if anyone's going to accept it or people are going to like it or if it's going to work, just keep trying. Always think about what your mission is. Don't worry so much about the how. Essentially just think about like the what. Keep focused on what your mission is of what you want to accomplish. So is it that you want to empower women, you want to help people be healthier, you want to, I don't know, show people how to start a blog, whatever it is. Always think about your mission, and sort of the how you can do it can be flexible. Maybe you'll do it through courses, maybe you'll do it through digital products, maybe you'll do it through one-on-one coaching, but keep track of what's working for you and what's not working, and don't be afraid to change. Just because you made a decision in March doesn't mean you have to stick with it in April. If you tried something out and it doesn't work, just pivot on your strategy a little bit until you find that thing that does work, and eventually you will. And I've been there too, because I started off with selling social media calendars. And then I did my Good Morning Beautiful email subscription, and that was what started to get me to take off into the subscription service business. And now I have the Good Morning Beautiful emails that I'm working on turning into an app, and the membership site. So it's like, just because you start in one place doesn't mean that you have to stay there forever. Just keep track of what you're enjoying doing and what's working for you, and just do more of what you like have fun doing. And don't be afraid to make a few mistakes or fail along the way, because the way that I see it is like failure or making mistakes is just fast forwarding to know what is going to work and what isn't going to work, instead of trying to, you know, read every single book or read every single blog post. You're never going to know if it's going to work until you just take what you've learned and go out and make it happen. One thing I'm always telling the girls in the collective is like, create over consume. If you've consumed for an hour on Instagram or reading blog posts or reading books, make sure that you're creating something for 2 hours so you can actually put it into practice and retain what you've just learned.
That's amazing. That's awesome advice.
Thank you. Thanks.
So I don't take up too much of your time. Just as a end note, do you have any big plans, exciting things happening in the future?
Yeah, so this year I'm definitely putting a big focus on the collective. So we've just moved the collective from a platform that's on WordPress to a brand new one that is just more organized, easier, faster, more features, and just I'm literally just like listening to what the girls in the collective say and what the girls in my free Facebook group are saying that they need it, and just making trainings so that somebody can go from having a faint idea of a business or maybe even no idea of a business, just knowing that they want to do something different from what they're doing now. Maybe they want to do something that aligns with their passions or that they enjoy more. So taking someone on a journey from at that point in their life where they're like, I'm not happy, but I don't know what I want to do next, showing them how to turn their passion into a business, all the way to building the website, writing the copy on your blog, getting yourself out there with social media marketing. So that stuff's all in there. And then this year is just continuing to make it better and better and better. And then, like I told you before, I have Good Morning Beautiful emails. So they're daily morning affirmations that women open up every day to start their day in a positive life. And instead of starting their day on Instagram, you know, taking in everyone else's life, you start your day thinking about what can I do to make my own life better and stay focused on my goals and start your day positively. So that right now is in email format, but I'm working on turning it into an app. So I'm really excited about that too.
Oh, that's going to be so cool. That's
Yeah,
so
I'll let you know when it
exciting.
comes out.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll wrap the interview there. Thank you so much for your
Okay.
time. It was so great talking to you.
Thank you so much, Morgan. It was so much fun. I'm like so honored and excited to be here. And it was so great meeting you too and learning more about what you do as well.